Thanks for joining. We're going to give it a couple minutes to let some other people join and we'll get started. What's up, Mike?
Hey, what's up?
All right, give it to 7:04 and we'll get started. Dun, 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 dun. All right, welcome everybody to the People's Town Hall. This is the first town hall since I've been elected into office to represent District 11. It's something that I told everyone I would do once elected to try to continue to engage with the community as best as possible. Because we're still in the middle of a pandemic, we have to do this virtually, which is great. We still can make it work. I would like to introduce you to, my staff. So y'all can introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Mike. I'm Mike Lee. I'm Senator McKinney's administrative assistant.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dominique Johnson, and I serve as Senator McKinney's legislative aide.
Thank you. So this going into this session, I wasn't sure how many bills I would introduce, but we ended up introducing 11 bills, and one of those bills is LB 349, which is to create a state holiday to celebrate Malcolm X and his legacy. We actually have a hearing coming up this Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. in the government committee for this bill. I thought it was very important to honor the legacy of Malcolm X, and I believe it's overdue, and I'm excited for the hearing and excited for the reaction to the bill. I'm hopeful to get it passed, and it'll be great. Another bill is LB 450, which is to adopt the innovation hubs. And what innovation hubs are, the idea behind innovation hubs is to create a central space in the community for small business owners and entrepreneurs to go to find resources to get started, find resources to grow and be sustainable, and just connect people to the resources instead of having people go all across the city or all across the state to access resources or partner with individuals or get in contact with people. And really just to spear innovation in our state and in our city and in our district, which needs it greatly. Next bill, LB 451, which is to end hair discrimination in the workplace. It's similar to the bill that was introduced last year by Senator Michaela Cavanaugh, LB 1060, which was vetoed by the governor. We've had our hearing for that bill, and we're currently in the process of just working the bill, and we're hopeful we can get it passed this session. And I'm looking forward to it. Another bill that was introduced is LB 452, which is the Financial Literacy Act. And what that is a bill to, require schools to teach financial literacy and make sure they're doing it and tracking it, because a lot of times I know for me, for instance, went through high school, graduated, and then began to make decisions that I didn't have the best of knowledge about. And if I had, some better financial literacy education while in high school, I think I would have made better decisions. It probably wouldn't always be perfect, but I would have at least had some tools to prepare myself for life after school. And I think that's what we have to prepare our students for right now. Next bill is LB 453. And this bill would require, landlords and landowners and property management groups or organizations or associations to be registered with the rental registry before seeking eviction. This is big because during the pandemic, a lot of the individuals that were seeking evictions or have been granted evictions were not registered with the rental registry, which makes no sense. They, will like for, renters and things like that and individuals like that to, comply with the law, but they're not complying with the ordinance in the city. And I don't believe that's fair. If we're going to have individuals get evicted, the individuals seeking evictions need to be in compliance as well. So I'm excited for the bill. We had a hearing a few weeks ago. It was animated, to say the least, but it was good. And I thought the committee saw the need for the bill, and it was actually voted out of committee, which is good. So hopefully get it passed eventually. Next bill is LB 479. This bill would add, a member of the legislature and another community member to, I don't know if you ever heard of the turnback tax. There's a committee for that, with the turnback tax, a certain percentage of it goes back to North and South Omaha, and there's committees for each community. And I wanted to, create some more transparency and place a member of the legislature and add another member of the community on the committee to make sure that the resources are going where they're supposed to be and that there's more transparency. Because I've heard about it, and everybody I talk to about it's like, I don't know where the money goes. I don't know where it's going. We've eventually, got some more information on where the money's been going the past, I think, 10 years, I believe. But even so, I think going forward, it's always good to have transparency and community, especially on committees that distribute resources to our community or are supposed to be distributing resources to our community. Next bill is LB 480, which would raise the minimum wage. We actually have our hearing tomorrow at 9:30 in the Business and Labor Committee. I think it's pretty obvious to most people that the minimum wage needs to be raised for a lot of reasons. We've seen it during this pandemic that those that are considered essential workers are not being paid the greatest, but you still have the top 1% of our country and our population just raking in money throughout this pandemic. And I don't think that's fair. I think everyone should be making a livable wage, no matter if you work at Walmart or you work at the bank or you work somewhere else. You should be able to survive off of what you go to survive off the resources that you make at work, and $9 is just not cutting it. And what the bill would do would raise the minimum wage $1 a year for 10 years. It would max out at 20, but it would be indexed to account for inflation if it ever raises over time. So I think it's good. I think it's a great bill. I'm excited for the hearing. I'm sure it probably will be a little animated and we'll get a lot of questions, but I think it's needed. They're trying to pass the $15 minimum wage on a federal level, and we're trying to do it in Nebraska as well. Next bill that was introduced was LB 481, which is the Marijuana Conviction Clean Slate Act. And this bill was introduced because I think it's important to decriminalize marijuana, but also, allow for those individuals that have marijuana offenses on their record to be taken away. It's important because currently we have a lot of individuals trading cannabis on the stock market and investing millions into, the cannabis or marijuana industry, while there's still so many people in our communities that are being punished for ever having those type of offenses on their record. And I just don't think it's fair. I think if someone's able to trade cannabis or marijuana stock on a stock market, individuals shouldn't have to fill out a job application and say, I've been convicted of marijuana possession or something like that. It's just not fair. It's not just. And I'm hopeful we could get this bill passed and change some minds in the state. Next bill is LB 515, which is the Municipal Police Oversight Act. It's similar to the bill that Senator Justin Wayne introduced over the summer to create an oversight committee, community oversight committee for the police. This is needed because, I don't believe we can rely on the police to just always police themselves. No entity or no person is perfect, and to allow somebody to police themselves or discipline themselves, in my opinion, isn't the greatest idea. We all have to answer to somebody, and I have to answer to the people and the voters, and I think the police should have to answer to the communities that they serve. We had a hearing for this, and a bunch of law enforcement officials came and spoke out against it, but I think you guys saw the article this week how the Omaha police were tracking myself and others in the community, and had it not been for the ACLU to submit a public records request, we would have never known it. I always knew they were around, but for them to be tracking us or monitoring what we're doing on social media and in the community when we're out trying to organize the community and do the work, they're wasting taxpayer resources on seeing what we're doing with our lives, and all we're trying to do is better our community. Next bill is LB 516. This bill would allow for individuals that are receiving TANF benefits to utilize online education as a work requirement. During the pandemic, there were a lot of individuals, well, we're still in a pandemic, but when it hit, there were a lot of individuals that were sanctioned because they were doing online education, and they had no control over it. And the state began to sanction individuals, which in my opinion isn't fair. And this is 2021, you could get a whole college degree online. And I think we need to account for that. We can't have these outdated policies and things like that. I think we need to change. The world is changing. The way we all receive education is going to change. It's never going to be the same. And I thought it was important to make sure that if somebody wanted to go to school online, that they weren't punished for it. Next bill is last bill we introduced was the LB 601, which would create a public database for police misconduct. This was big for me as well, to create more accountability and transparency. I think it's important to know which officers in our community are the ones that are quote unquote bad, since the police don't necessarily tell us who the bad ones are. I think it's important for the public to be able to access a database to see which officers have offenses on their record, been decertified, been suspended, and things like that. Because in my opinion, I think it creates, more transparency and just assurance for communities. Because sometimes maybe an officer is doing a great job and he never has anything on his file, which is good. But how do we know if we are never shown that information? Which is why it's good. Why I think it's important. And we also introduced a resolution to thank Senator Ernie Chambers for his service to our community and to our state and to District 11. It was adopted as well. And I also co-sponsored a few other bills that some other senators had introduced. Mike, you got any comments on any other bills you excited about?
I think the bill I'm most excited about is definitely like the police oversight, and just being able to see like what we can do to bring some change and different way of doing things. So I'm excited about the floor debates coming up. But that's my bill right now.
All right. Dom, is there any bills you're excited about or a bill you're excited about?
I'm gonna be honest. Every bill has a little piece of my heart, but I will say the couple that I'm most excited about, I think, or most invested in, maybe hair discrimination. Of course, that means a lot to me, just as a Black woman who has been policed a lot regarding hair and a lot of that. And then also marijuana. That is a big taboo topic, especially in a conservative state like Nebraska. And I think a lot of valuable conversations are being had around marijuana and exactly what it can do for state benefits, pros and cons, people's opinions about it. One thing that was definitely harped upon in the last hearing regarding our bill as well as Senator Justin Wayne's bill is that what a lot of senators tend to do is just say no, 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 no across the board. Instead of looking to what other states have been doing and reaping the benefits of what marijuana can do as far as taxation, as far as bringing in more revenue into the state with other provisions and things like that. So I'm interested to know what's gonna happen, just because it was on the ballot. I do think that it's going to be a thing in Nebraska eventually. It's just going to be a matter of how. So yeah, I think those are two bills that I'm really, really kind of excited about to see what comes of those.
Okay, cool. Lisa, to answer your question, I don't know exactly when we'll exact on some of those oversight bills because judiciary gets so many bills. We haven't been able to exact like as much as we would like other committees have. But I believe we only have about maybe 2 weeks left of hearings. Judiciary, everybody else I think ends this week or some. I think so. But judiciary goes longer because of just the amount of bills that were sent to our committee. Mike, were there any questions submitted?
You guys hear me?
Yeah.
There was no question submitted on the form as of yet. And then I think in the group, I'm sorry, on the chat for the live, that was the only question that we had so far.
All right. We'll open
And then
it up.
even if people want to, sorry,
No, you go.
even if people wanted to necessarily fill out the form and ask some questions, we can also, because we have their email too, we can just respond in emails to people's questions if they have any after the event.
All right. A question from Jacqueline. Are you making any changes to your Innovation Hub Act? If so, what are you thinking? We're working on it. We had some conversations with some people from the state of California to figure out how they got it implemented and got it working. So we're just looking at ways to make sure that, it's doable, not just in Omaha or Lincoln, but across the state. Um, Thinking about the funding source and things like that, but we're still working it, trying to figure it out, and hopeful that we can get it done as well. If you haven't, also to connect with our office, you can send us an email, tmckinney@ledge.ne.gov. You can also call our office, which is 402-471-2612. one of us will answer the phone. Most of the time it's Mike, but somebody answer. Okay, here's another question. The question, what's your opinion on how Metropolitan College can better serve the residents who live in your district? That's a good question. I think the biggest thing is outreach and making sure that, outreach is strong and they're connecting to the individuals in the community. I was just on the phone with somebody from the community because we just recently had a death in our community and a lot of people are hurting. And I think some things that get missed is we're not always meeting the youth in our community where they at, and we're not connecting with the ones that we really need to connect with. They're always kind of left out the conversation, or people say those are the ones that you can't change or something like that. But I would say Metro is doing a good job, but we all could do a better job because nothing is perfect, and the poverty rate in the district is still horrible. The graduation rate, whether it's high school or college, is not the best. So better outreach and making sure that the services are provided to the ones that really need them. And I would say that. Another question. What kind of pushback are you receiving regarding the Malcolm X holiday? I got an email when I introduced it from somebody saying he doesn't deserve a holiday. He was a racist and all the, expected propaganda. But honestly, I think a lot of people don't really understand who Malcolm was or who he is, and definitely who he was at the end of his life when he returned from Africa. So it's a little educating individuals that are not necessarily educated on who he was as a whole person. They try to stick to one or two lines to sum up who he was as a man, but I think Malcolm is more complex than we give him. So, I expected, there's going to be a lot of ignorant comments probably, but it is what it is. It's expected. You just got to be prepared for those. And I know I said it kind of fast. Tomorrow we do have a hearing for LB 480 to raise the minimum wage at it's 9:30 in the Business and Labor Committee. If you can't make it down to testify, you can submit an online comment. If you want, you could drive down and hand in a letter as well, and you can still come in person and testify. Education committee seems much more productive this year with new leadership. What are you excited to see come out of that committee? What am I excited about seeing come out of education? Ooh. Jen Day has a mental health bill, which I think is good because I do believe we need more mental health in our schools because our students are dealing with a different world than we have when we came up. And, we just have to rethink how we address different issues. And I think it'd be great to increase mental health access in our schools because our kids are dealing with a lot, especially when we come out of this, pandemic. It's a lot of kids that have been inside the whole time or haven't been able to see family, and a lot of people dealing with depression and things like that. And you hear that about adults. I just wonder what the kids are going through. They can't, some of them aren't playing sports and things like that, a lot of the social activities. So mentally, there's going to be a lot of strain. So I think it's really important to make sure that we're providing those resources to our students. Also excited about my financial literacy bill. I believe it'll come out of committee, and I think I can get it passed. I think it's very important because there's a need. It's been missing, and it really doesn't even matter if you live in District 11 or you live in District 39. You need financial literacy to make sound decisions. What else in education am I excited about? So many bills. I can't remember the bill, but I believe we're gonna provide scholarships for the youth that are in the YRTC. There's gonna be a scholarship created for them to access, which is great. I think it's amazing to provide a resource to those students that complete the program, so they could continue to better themselves in their lives. So I'm excited about that as well. And besides my bills, there are some other bills that were introduced this year that I got a lot of questions about. It was the voter ID bill and the winner take all bill. Sorry. Is there a way to utilize the Innovation Hub bill and center? I was just saying that, Jacqueline. Yeah, the voter ID bill, the winner take all bill, and then there's another school restraint bill in education that I don't think will come out, but you never know. I don't think so. I don't like the bill. I don't think teachers should be provided immunity to restrain kids and potentially hurt them without any recourse for parents and children. The voter ID bill, like, it's not needed. Voter fraud rarely happens. The winner take all is just bogus. They're just upset Trump lost, and we were able to secure the blue dot in District 2. So, I wouldn't say I'm worried about them, but they're definitely bills we all need to pay attention to. And if they do hit the floor, you can expect me to fight them. Emmanuel had a question. Is there a way to utilize the Innovation Hub in Senator Hunt's cultural districts? There's actually a bill, Senator Stenner, I believe it's 264, to provide some resources for cultural districts. I think it's just $10,000. Yeah, I think it's possible to use both. I mean, if you create an innovation hub and you create cultural districts, or I think they all can work together. I think you need innovation as well as culture, as well as making sure we take care of our arts community, so they all can work in sync to better our community. So I think if passed, both would do great things for North Omaha. Trying to think of some other bills that I'm worried about. I really don't know. Sitting in judiciary all day and other committee hearings all day, it's kind of hard to track all the bills that come out or that was introduced. I try, but those were the ones that are like at the top of my head right now. Mike or Dom, any bills y'all worried about, concerned about?
Dom, you want to go first? Oh, I was just gonna say that I know one bill that like I've been concerned with or just been thinking about a lot lately. Is just the winner take all bill. Just because I know people are really upset at the way that the election happened. So I'm just hoping that we make sure that we're staying the same, and that the blue dot can remain the blue dot, and in that way we can just foster more progressive movements.
Okay.
I was trying to pull up my email because I know I've responded to some constituent emails regarding a couple of bills that they had concerns about. But I too will echo the sentiments about the bills on voter suppression. I don't really have to go into detail about how harmful those things are, especially for District 11 and our surrounding communities. But there have also been a few bills introduced regarding some religious suppression as well, and some mandates that would really just impose would just inhibit religious freedoms in Nebraska as well. So I can't think of the actual numbers of those. I couldn't pull them up quick enough, but definitely have been keeping track of those. And even though, like Senator McKinney said, sometimes it's really hard to call the numbers off of the top of our brains when speaking. In the hearing, Senator McKinney does a really good job of speaking up in the moment in the hearings. And as they come up, he definitely knows what those are. So I don't want you to be scared in any way that he's sitting in judiciary just letting bills pass. That definitely doesn't happen.
Lisa had a question. It sounds like you do a special session for redistricting. Are you concerned about the process? No, I'm not concerned about the process. I'm excited for it. I don't believe we'll get the census data till the end of September, so we'll probably be in session more than likely in October. I'm not sure how long it'll go. I guess concern wise, it's always going to be a fight. I'm just interested to see what that data says, but we definitely going to have to make sure that, districts aren't drawn up to save people or create districts for people and things like that, and make sure that, what happened in the past doesn't happen again. So we won't have a Don Bacon winning every year. So we'll see. I'm excited for it though. I think it'll be interesting, but it definitely will be chaos and a huge fight to get done. But I'm excited for it. Jacqueline, will the legislature get to designate any priorities? I get one priority bill from my office. The speaker, I think Speaker Hildreth gets about 25. I forget how many each committee gets. Maybe two to five for each committee. Some people have already started prioritizing bills. Most people haven't though, but I'm sure with hearings closing, a lot of people will start prioritizing bills once they get their bills heard and votes are taken. So I haven't decided what I'll prioritize just yet, but we'll see. Oh, priorities for any additional COVID funding. That is a conversation I haven't really heard too much about, if you want my honest truth. I'm not sure just yet. Uh, I guess we'll see once this new stimulus bill is passed and hopefully in the Senate about the funding. But as of right now, I haven't heard anything directly about new COVID funding in our state. And I said in the beginning, LB 349 has a hearing on Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. In the government committee. It's a bill to create a state holiday for El Hajj, Malik El Shabazz, and Malcolm X in our state. I think it's big. I think it's needed. I think it's overdue. And if you could come testify in person, come down. If you don't feel safe, send in a position letter, I believe by Tuesday at 12 p.m. You could also submit an online comment, and you also come down and turn in a handwritten letter at 8:30 a.m. before hearings begin as well.
And just to add, I did put a lot of those links also in the chat below too, so everybody can be able to click it and see what some of the bills that we have introduced, and be able to submit some of that testimony.
Trying to think. Any other questions? Is there anything in the community that we should be paying attention to that you think our office should be at least paying attention to in the community? You could write it in the comment box as well.
And our goal is also to just be better at reaching out to the community and figuring out what's going on, and being a part of a lot of the events in the community. So anything that you think that we can be better at, specifically, we take all feedback too.
And I know the local elections are getting closer. I believe the primary is April 6th. If you aren't registered, get registered. If you haven't sent in your vote by mail application form, make sure you get it sent in or request one, or you might just want to go in person. But if you can, make sure you vote. I know a lot of people turned out in November, and I'm hoping more people turn out than ever in April and in May because it's needed. Local elections mean a lot, especially city council and mayor. So make sure you're going to vote. Encourage your friends and family to vote as well, because these elections are just as important. Who do I got for District 2? I haven't decided yet. I've really just been staying out of it. Really been focused on really getting acclimated with the legislature. I haven't been too deep into it. I haven't decided who I got just yet. But, once I get closer, I'll try to figure it out. But, right now I don't have a choice. But there's a lot of great candidates running in this cycle, which is good. It's good to see a lot of engagement. So, I'm just hopeful for some change in our communities. That's all I can say. What else? Anything else I missed that's coming up in the legislature? Do I read the comments submitted online? Yeah, I do. For my bills, I do. I go through and read them and see if somebody else has commented. A lot of them are interesting, honestly. So I read the comments. I think a lot of other senators read them as well. I know people they don't probably express that they read them, but I've caught a few senators read those online comments. So I think, pretty much from what I've seen, people read them. It's new, so it's probably going to take some time for everybody to start reading them. But I think it was a good idea. I hope it continues going forward because, it just adds another way for citizens to engage with us in Lincoln. Guys, got any other questions before we get out of here tonight? Feel free to ask. If not, I just want to thank you all for joining. Thank you, Dom, and thank you, Mike, for getting on tonight. I know it's a Sunday night. I know everybody want to relax, but I think it's important that, we always engage with the community. I love y'all for the work y'all do in the office, and, it's been fun so far. As far as community, continue to reach out to the office, send an email, tmckinney at ledge.ne.gov or call our office 402-471-2612. And, we'll try to respond as fast as possible. Some days we get 1,000 emails. Actually, it literally happened last week. So yeah, but try to, reach out, and if I can answer a question or if our team can answer a question, just send it. Thank you and have a good night and stay safe. See y'all next time. See you later, Dom.